Hello, and welcome to Dolphin's Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted by Logic Dolphin. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively work against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. And with that, let's begin. We are continuing our foray into double adversaries. I hit the random button and I got Scotland and England. I'm not scared. So yeah, let's see. So Scotland 3. The additional loss condition trade hub. If the number of coastal lands with cities is ever greater than 2 times the number of boards, the invaders win. The escalation is ports sprawl outward. On the single board with the most coastal buildings, add a town to the N lands with the fewest towns. N equals number of players. Let's see, we have trading port. After setup in coastal lands, explorer cards add a town instead of an explorer. Coastal lands, invader cards do this for maximum 2 lands per board. Seize opportunity. During setup, add a city to land number 2. Place coastal lands as the 3rd stage 2 card and move the 2 stage 2 cards above it up by 1. So the new deck order is 1-1, 2-2, 1, C, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, where C is the stage 2 coastal lands card. And chart the coastline. In coastal lands, build cards affect lands without invaders so long as there is an adjacent city. We're also playing with England 2. The additional loss condition, proud and mighty capital. If 7 or more buildings are ever in a single land, the invaders win. The escalation, which will happen on stage 3, is building boom. On each board with buildings, build in a land with the most buildings. We have indentured servants earn land. Invader build actions affect lands without invaders if they're adjacent to at least 2 buildings before the build action. Criminals and malcontents. During setup, on each board add a city to land number 1 and a town to land number 2. However, let us recall... I had this open and I closed it apparently. Let us recall what double adversary rules do. Sorry, one sec. Combining 2 adversaries. I can't actually show this on screen because this is in the manual and I can only get to that in-game. We'll read through most of it, but the thing to bear in mind is if we're combining with the Kingdom of Scotland, if the other adversaries' setup instructions would add a city to a coastal land other than land number 2, instead add the city to an adjacent inland land. So this city to land number 1 is actually going to be to an adjacent inland land. Probably 4 if it's numbered how I think it is, but it could be wrong. But anyway, yeah, those are our adversaries. So build actions will affect coastal lands if there's an adjacent city, or in general lands without invaders if they're adjacent to at least 2 buildings before the build action, which in general this is the case. So basically builds will always happen unless we somehow get really good at isolating and removing coastal cities or something. Otherwise, mostly setup changes, I guess. We have a city to an inland land, a town to land 2, a city to land 2, so there's 2 cities and a town in there now. The invader deck is 1-1-2-2-1 C2 3-3-3-3-3. We have the escalations, the additional loss conditions. I'm not worried. The spirits we have with us are Wandering Voice, Keen's Delirium. Setup. Put 2 presents on your starting board, 1 in land number 6 and 1 in land number 7. Put your Incarna on your starting board in land number 6. Special rules. A Clarion Voice given form. You have an Incarna. It may count as a sacred site. If empowered, it isolates its land. We have Spread Tumult and Delusion. When your actions add or move Incarna to a land with invaders, add a strife in the destination land. It lands with or adjacent to Incarna. If strife is present, Dahan do not participate in Ravage. We also have Senseless Roaming. When your actions add strife to an explorer or town, you may push it. So, moving our Incarna adds strife. We can push explorers or towns with that strife. Cool. Can't move cities. And Dahan can't counterattack and lands with strife if our Incarna is too close. Growth options, pick 1. Number 1, reclaim cards. Add move Incarna to land with your presence. Gain 1 energy. Number 2, add a presence range 3. Add a presence range 1. And number 3, gain a power card. Add a presence range 2. Gain 1 energy. Gain air. And our presence tracks starts at 0 energy and 1 card play per turn, goes up to 4 and 4. You get a sun or moon, an air, push your Incarna, and a reclaim 1. And our innate powers, inscrutable journeying. At 1 air, you may push Incarna. At 3 air, you may push Incarna. At 5 air, you may push Incarna. And at 2 moon, 1 fire, 4 air, and 1 plant, empower Incarna. And we only need to do this once per game, and that will give it the additional effect that our land it's in is isolated. Also, mind-shattering song. 1 moon, 2 air, 1 fear per moon you have. 1 sun, 2 air, 1 damage per sun you have to invaders with strife only. And at 1 sun, 1 air, 1 sun, 1 moon, 4 air. For each sun moon pair you have, destroy 1 invader with strife. And then these are our power cards. I'm just looking at them briefly because I haven't played the Spirit too many times, but yeah, cool, neat. All right. I also have Grinning Trickster stirs up trouble. Setup: put 2 presents on your starting board. 1 in the highest numbered land with Dahan and 1 in land number 4. Special rules: a real flair for discord. After one of your powers adds strife in a land, you may pay 1 energy to add 1 strife within range 1 of that land. Also, cleaning up messes is a drag. After one of your powers removes blight, destroy 1 of your presents. Just ignore this rule for let's see what happens. Kinda funny. Growth options. Pick 2. Number 1, at -1 energy cost, reclaim cards, move a presence range 1. Number 2, add a presence range 2. Number 3, gain power card. Number 4, gain energy equal to card place. You start at 1 energy and 2 card plays per turn, goes up to 3 and 5. You get a moon, an any, a fire, an air, and a push 1 Dahan from one of your lands. The innate powers. Let's see what happens. At 1 moon, 1 fire, 2 air. Discard minor powers from the deck until you get 1 that targets a land. Use its text effects on target land immediately, ignoring normal range and targeting restrictions. All up to instructions must be used at max value. Treat all ores as ants. And at 2 moon, 1 fire, 2 air, you may forget a power card to gain the just used power card to hand and 1 energy. Let's see what happens. Also, why don't you and them fight? At 3 moon, this power may be used slow. At 3 air, add a strife. At 3 sun or 3 fire, 1 invader and 1 Dahan deal damage to each other. And at 3 animal, if target land has beasts, 2 damage. Otherwise, you may gather 1 beasts. Man, that's a lot of random mass elements. I played the Spirit like twice. So these are the power cards we have. Destroy town, discard top minor power about personate authority, add strife, Unexpected tigers. Tigers? What do you mean tigers? Incite the mob. 1 invader of strife deals damage to other invaders. Neat. Alright. This sounds like fun. I'm looking forward to this. Let's play. What's the worst that can happen? I die? Aha! The Kingdom of Scotland. When the other combined adversary setup instructions would add city to a coastal land other than land number 2, instead the city is added to an adjacent inland land. And the numbering actually is not. Okay, so this is 5 or 6 here. And then it's going to be 5 or 7 here. Let's put it here. Let's put it here. Lots of buildings already. England by design kind of starts the game off with every land being adjacent to 2 buildings, but now it's even more so. All right, Sands build. Every one of these is adjacent to 2 buildings. This is a coastal land adjacent to a city. This is a coastal land adjacent to a coastal city, so every build is happening. Nice. So what do we do here? Is this another game where I always click the growth option that gains energy and I ignore the top track? This doesn't give me any elements, though. Also doesn't give me any innate energy sustain, which is a bit concerning. But power cards are what gives us elements, which gives us the innate powers. So getting to reclaim 1 would be nice, I guess. If I were to just not place or not gain any energy this turn and play these 2 power cards, is it bad? Probably. This just says don't ravage, or invaders with strife don't ravage, which seems redundant, except it means they keep their strife, so it's nice. But that's not going to be relevant on a turn where they're not ravaging. And pay 1 energy when you don't have energy. Yeah, that seems terrible. All of our power cards have air currently, so we will always be able to push our Incarna. I'm just wondering if I want to like try to play these 2 powers, but I can't, right? Even if I gain 1 energy or place 2 presence, I can't. Yeah, so it's gonna be Turmoil's Touch. Oh, that's kind of sad. Maybe I just... Oh, Oh, this takes a minor power. Okay. Then let's only play 1 power card this turn, I say. I would kind of like to place 2 presents, but I think I'm just going to do this and gain an air. And if I play Turmoil's Touch, then I can do 1 damage to invaders with strife, which isn't that much. Maybe it's not even worth doing that. But in any case, I'm going to do this. Gain power card. This is all of the elements. Is it worth taking that for all of the elements? Hold a guard gives me a sun and an air, and it's free, which is nice. These 2 don't give me air, so I'm kind of ignoring them right now. But oh, this also has a kind of nice effect. After invaders are added or moved to target land, 1 damage. Which, when we add strife to an explorer town, we push it, we could throw it into the land, and then they get damaged. That's not enough to kill buildings, that kills explorers, but explorers are meaningless. But this is free. Delusions of Danger is a pretty good fear card, I guess. Oh, also, I guess we should go through all of the, before I forget, all of the things about combining adversaries. Let's see. Supporting adversary will apply its escalation effect on all stage 2 or stage 3 invader cards. If the escalation is specific to a terrain, as with France and Sweden, one of the terrains is chosen randomly. But we're playing England, so it's not relevant. Difficulty, blah, blah, blah. And then I think the other mention of double adversaries is somewhere later. Ah, yeah. Each tier level in the fear deck uses 3 fear cards to the base, plus the extra cards added or subtracted by each adversary. If both adversaries modify the invader deck, which actually isn't super relevant, only 1 rule changed it, so none of that happens. And then when playing versus Scotland, we already talked about that. Okay. Just skimming through that for the relevant bits. But the point is that the fear card distribution on Scotland 3 is 4-5-4, which is essentially +1 on tier level 1, +2 on tier level 3, or tier level 2, and +1 on tier level 3. And then England's is 4-4-3, which is +1, +1, and +0. So combining those numbers, this should be +2, +3, +1. So it should be 5, 6, 4. So that's 5. That's 6, and that's 4. Ah, math. Not even once. Okay, let's take Call to Guard. It's free, gives decent elements. I suppose I suppose that if we were to add a strife to a town and push it into a land or whatever, that we could finish it off with Mind-Shattering Song. So it is a good combo with Mind 8. Presence at range 2. Some of these rules care about sacred sites, but mainly Mind-Shattering Song. Or I say some, but really it's just that. And really, this is kind of from the Incarna is how it works here, since our Incarna may count as a sacred site. The rules with Incarna is that it always may count as a presence, but some spirits can say what it may also count as, and Wandering Voice can count it as a sacred site, so it counts as a sacred site. Let's see. I kind of want to grow near to F2 so I could maybe think about dealing with that land. Do I want to be in that land? I do not know. Let's grow to F3. If I do play 2 cards, we can push our Incarna twice. So maybe I do want to do 2 cards. Gather Dahan. So you always gather up to 1 Dahan. Then if Dahan are present, either defend 1 per Dahan, or after invaders are added, remove 1 damage each. So I want to do that. We could add more sun to deal more damage. I'm not sure how much damage we want to deal, but we can group all of the strifed buildings to the 1 land, I guess. Granted, this power is fast. I could push my Incarna into F8, strife the town, push it into F6, push my Incarna back into F6, strife the city, use Call to Guard in F6. I don't need to gather Dahan. I guess I would do F6 first, rather, and then the town that moves in gets dealt 1 damage. I mean, I don't have to strife the city, but I do have to be near this land for Mind-Shattering Song to work. I can't really do anything with F1, because that build is going to happen. I can move the Explorer out, but it's not really going to help much. But in any case, I guess we could do Frightful Keening, push my Incarna again. This gives me another sun, so now I deal 2 damage. Push a city out from F1 or F8, or sorry, town out from F1 or F8 into F6, gets dealt damage. And then Mind-Shattering Song kills both. Okay, I kind of like that. I can dig that. It doesn't really solve... I guess it solves F8. It doesn't solve F1 just yet, but we could push our Incarna to strife this town, and then the Ravage is essentially solved, except the Dahan will not counterattack, but... But it would be okay to do that, I guess. Okay. What about Grinning Trickster? Again, these builds are always happening. This one's actually less likely to happen. If we get rid of the Explorer in this town, it doesn't happen. I mean, I'm not saying that we can. That said, we do have Over-Enthusiastic Arson, which is just a fun name. So this power's fast. This one's fast. We're never going to get the Elements Rare, though, to be fair. Definitely want to do let's see what happens into E6. And maybe it's something that pushes the Explorer out, I think, is what we want to try to do. We could Strife the town that builds, I guess. If I do Overenthusiastic Arson, I get a sun... Or sorry, I get a fire and an air. I'm going to need a moon and an air. So it'd have to be Incite the Land. Unless I find a power card, that works. The thing is that I can already play 2 cards. I would like to place a Presence. Neither of those Presences gives me energy or card plays. I could gain a power card, but this costs an energy, this costs an energy. So if I do not... I guess actually no, this gives me a moon. In which case I just have to play any card that has air, so I could do Impersonate Authority. Okay. I could gain energy equal to card plays, which would give me 2 additional energy, but I don't really need it, honestly. I'm always placing the Presence. It's probably just going to be the moon. So let's gain power card. See what we get. Let's see what happens. So we're looking for all sorts of elements, but to trigger, let's see what happens, we would need primarily air, but also moonfire. There's no moonfire. There's a fire, there's a moon, but no moonfire. All of these have air. So I guess the question is, what would we like more? There's also like sun and animal on the rightmost. Portents of Disaster hits most of those, and it's 0 energy. It's also one I could play without needing to gain a moon. Next time an invader is destroyed in target land this turn, which could hit E7, and then we Overenthusiastic Arson, and it's all good. Maybe I do that. And then... I could go up card plays track. That's what I like to do. I do need Sacred Sight for Portents. Overenthusiastic Arson. So if we destroy this town and maybe get rid of this Explorer, this build doesn't happen, which will be nice. We could actually stop a build, despite having said that we can't actually prevent builds that easily. We could push it to Han. I'm going to assume that we either have a defend for E6 or we stop the build in E6. Little over-enthusiastic, I guess. Does the order matter? I don't think it does. So let's discard minor powers until we get one of the targets. I guess if I want to forget one of these powers, the order does matter. No, I can't do it because I don't have the elements. Okay. Desiccating Winds. If target land has Badlands, 1 damage. Add Badlands. So we add Badlands. That's now what's in that land. Okay. So bear in mind that it ignores range and targeting restrictions. Up to instructions must be used at max value. Treat all ores as ants. And so what ultimately meant is that we ignore the fact this is range 1 sacred site, slow, mountain sand, all that blah blah blah. Actually is a sand, so it did hit that, and was range 1 from sacred site, so it did hit that. But there was no ores, there was no up twos, so it just did the thing, which is add a Badlands. So there's Badlands in there now. Neat. Ports of Disaster. Overenthusiastic Arson. We've also dealt 1 damage to E7. Because it had the top card of the minor power deck was fire. So it's 1 fear, 2 damage, and add a blight. So we got a blight in E7. Neat. Any way we could possibly damage that city? No? Sad. Okay. Call the guard. think I'm gonna gather this to Han just so there's no singleton. Damage invaders entering land. Push my Incarna. Strife this town. Move the town. Move my Incarna. Strife the city. Okay. They're exploring the mountains. That explorer that was added was destroyed. Neat. So push my Incarna. 2 fear, strife town, move town, damage town, deal 2 damage, kill towns. Okay. Hello, Blaster QB. Hope you're doing well. We're already at 1 fear card. We have 4 to go before we get to the next tier level. Also, let's change our background while I'm thinking of this. I normally try to do this at the start of the stream, and I always forget. Let's just move down to Deluxe Edition backer, the picnic table background. All right, so Sans Ravage. Uh-huh. Also, Mountains Build. Uh-huh. So, notably, we don't really have any defend mechanics in our cards right now. Invaders of Strife don't participate in Ravage. That's just a fancy way of saying keep the Strife. Twist Perceptions pushes the invader he added Strife to. That pushes cities, fun fact. But anyway, I'm talking to myself there. We do have a lot of Strife in our cards, which is interesting. Something I can do with E2 there, then? Strife a city... Incite the mob. If I were to play my hand, I would have 1 moon, 1 fire, 2 air. So we do get to, let's see what happens. Do I gain a power card? And see if I find something that defends for E6 instead. Defending E6 would be nice. E1 also, I guess, but I can't defend 2 lands right now. I could see what happens in one of them, but yeah, let's see what happens. Okay. Moon, fire, air. So Lure of the Unknown is perfect, and it gathers a town in a land without invaders. That kind of solves E6. I mean, the Han dies because of the Badlands, but does stop a Blight. Okay, so range 1. So E1, I guess I can't do anything to. I'm also not really that close to it, but I don't really want to get close to it either. So let's play Lure of the Unknown, as that will solve something. And then, can I play these 2? I can. We also get to forget a power card to gain the just used power card to hand, thereby letting me not reclaim all next turn. We also get to add Strife, which is neat, as we also get to incite the mob. I can Strife this city, Strife this city. Both cities kill both towns. That seems like a bit of a waste. I could Strife the city and a town, and then they kill the other city and town. I guess... Well, because I could Strife 2 cities, and then 1 city kills the other city, and the other city deals 2 damage to 1 town, 1 to the other. But then we end up with 1 Strife city and 1 damaged town that's not strifed, and the damage goes away. Or not doing anything else in that land, so... But there's options there, I like that. What about Wandering Voice? This growth option will always let me get to 3 air, which I like a lot. We could try to speedrun to reclaim 1. But... Oh, also this isn't actually blighting, by the way, because we got rid of that town. Okay, cool. So I could push the Incarna F2, strife the town, push the town into F1, and if I move my Incarna away, that town will actually ravage, or the Dahan will actually counterattack and kill the town, which is nice. The build in F4 is always happening. I could move the Explorer out, but it's not going to help. Our current power does not help with F8. It's okay if F8 does ravage, to be fair, but... This is a check mark now, by the way. Well, it's... I'm going to put that... I mean, this icon, I never really know what it means. I usually use... I'm sure that, like, the intended use for these icons is not necessarily how I'm using them, but I use the exclamation point for ravage, not solved, blight happening, and I use this icon to generally mean the ravage is solved, but other things are happening. In this case, the other thing that's happening is that we're killing the Dahan, but we're at least not blighting the land. Sometimes I use this icon to mean that I want the ravage to happen. It will blight the land, but good things will happen. So I'm not very consistent with that. This is that I don't know how to solve this land, and this is a build. And this is land is solved. F6 is kind of solved, by the way. Yeah, let's just gain power card. If I do this turn, I'll have 4 power cards, play 2. If I do double presence next turn, we can get to 3 cards and reclaim 1. And I would have to play all the 0-cost cards, pretty much, or play Twisted Perceptions next turn. But we could maybe do that, depending on what this power is. It would need to basically be free, or... Well, no, it has to be free for me to decide that I want to even play it. Gift of Nature's Connection. That is free. Everything else is energy. Dire Metamorphosis, 1 of everything. It does add a strife, which can push an explorer or town. Is that worth considering? We could also not reclaim 1 next turn. I could just click this again. Play 2 cards this turn, 3 next turn, gain 2 cards. Yeah, so we'd have enough. If I so decide that I want Dire Metamorphosis or Haunted by Primal Memories. Range 2 Sacred Site. Cannot use it to defend E1, sadly. Gift of Nature's Connection, 2 energy or 2 of a single element is actually kind of interesting because we can get 1 of these things. Oh, why don't you and them fight as range 0, by the way? Which... I did want to target E2 with that. I can very easily make that happen. Did I go for Moon? Or did I do 3? I don't remember what I did here. I think I did 3. So we're playing these? Okay. Okay, so if I were to... Moon would let this power be slow. I don't need it to be slow. One invader and one Dahan deal damage to each other. There's no Dahan in E2, but we do have a push. Push Dahan from one of your lands, but that's not helpful here as there's no Dahan in this land, and I don't have presence in the neighboring lands, so that's not helpful. Your target land has beasts, 2 damage, otherwise gather a beast also doesn't do anything. So I'd be doing this to gain 2 energy this turn, but down the road I could use it to trigger those 3 element effects more consistently. If I target another spirit, I gain an element of my choice. Let's see, so Exile, Confusion, and Delirium, Invader Strife don't participate in Ravage. That's... I don't want that to happen. I mean, I guess I could just use this for fear. Turmoil's Touch. Pay 1 energy to discard a power from hand to take a minor power into their discard. You may do likewise. Pay 1 energy or discard a power. So, if I have energy, I can easily do that. Although, next turn... This basically makes the turn after Reclaim All a little better. I don't really want to spend this energy if I... Because we're not... I guess we could Twist Perceptions. We can put... Oh, actually. I was thinking we could Strife to City enough too and push into F6, but no. If you had Strife to this Town or Explorer, you can push that Explorer first with Senseless Roaming before pushing it with this power. So, like, you can use this to push a city, or you can use this to push an Explorer Town twice. Which is a way of getting more things into F6. I would like F6 to Ravage, if possible. If we do let F8 happen, we could Strife the Town and push it into F6. Assuming that I'm moving F2 into F4, we're pushing this Town F2 into F1, and then Strifing the Explorer in F4, pushing that somewhere. Not sure where. If we could get Dahan into F4, we could theoretically Strife the city in F2 and push it into F4. Although we don't have Dahan gathering tools. Is there any relevance to Mind-Shattering Song here? Our question was about Gift of Nature's Connection, but I'm really trying to figure out what I'm playing this turn. Maybe I don't play Gift of Nature's Connection. Although the thinking I had at the start of this turn was that I'm going to use, let's see what happens, forget a power card from this collection, although I don't really want to do that. I don't want to forget Impersonate Authority or Incite the Mob right now. I guess I could forget from my discard. Over-Enthusiastic Arson is a unique power, so it can come back more easily. Forget that. Add the minor power to my hand. Play it next turn. So I don't want to discard this. I would need energy. Am I worried about the Blight in F8? Not really right now. Do I want Dire Metamorphosis? Because it adds Strife and does a million things. Eh. Let's just take Gift of Nature's Connection. I think that is the simpler choice here. Presence range 2. I guess we could use Exile Confusion next turn in E2. So I want to be close to E2. Or just grow in it. I I guess I could go on E5, and that's a little... Assuming I can do something in E5, which I assume that I can. Just because this gives more visibility. If I play these powers... Oh. For some reason I thought I was playing 3 cards. Okay, well... That's probably okay. Is there a building in there? There's his presence, okay. We don't have to use this turn. We can use this. Damage to invaders with strife only doesn't really seem that useful. Range 1 Sacred Site is going to be an F4. I guess we could kill the Explorer, but that's not really that helpful. I'm just thinking I'm going to use Gift of Nature's Connection to gain an heir. I think that's okay. Next turn, take energy, 3 card plays, and then try to take a 0 cost power so I could use Turmoil's Touch to pay 1 energy to take a minor power into my discard, and then next turn I have a million cards in my discard. Right. So Gift of Nature's Connection before Inscrutable Journey. Lure of the Unknown in E6, unless I want to see what happens there first. I feel like I want to do an E1 though, in case it's a defend. You don't need the power to be slow. There's no Dahan there. Maybe, let's see what happens, does do something in that regard. Maybe it pushes a Dahan. So I feel like this is 2 energy. I mean, let's see what happens also does something, but there's not too many minors with elemental thresholds. Absorb Corruption. Gather 1 energy and pay 1 energy to remove both. I mean, I don't need the threshold on that. I already do both because the and is there. Because each ore is treated as an and. Replace Explorer with Dahan. You instead replace Town with Dahan. There's no mace. I think it's let's see what happens in E1 first. Set them on an ever-twisting trail. Gather a push explorer. Isolate target land. If I'm strafing the town in E5 with this, by the way, that makes Incite the Mob even better, right? So if I'm strafing the town, I'm strafing 2 cities, that's 8 damage. That's enough to kill 2 towns, an explorer, and a city. So I can push the explorer into E2. Okay. Forget to gain card and 1 energy. Well, this doesn't give me moon or fire. It just gives me air. Isolation is actually okay because it does counter England, but I don't really care about that card. So I'm not going to take it. I refuse. Okay. Lure of the Unknown is gonna happen here, I guess. I could do it F3, but Nature's Connection has to go off towards Journeying. You don't want the elements, so you gain 2 energy. I need the air. And then inscrutable Journeying. Strife that town, move that town. Strife that Explorer. Let's hope that it will be relevant in E3, but I'm not sure if it will. Okay, and then strife the city. Oh, and I could pay an energy because my innate rule. I might pay energy to add strife within 1 of that land, and that solves E1. Okay, I forgot that was a thing. Good job, me. All right, we solved E1. All right, are we good? I hope so. Distant exploration. During the explore step, invaders explore at +1 distance. That doesn't really do much. Grim Toll. On each board, choose a land with disease, and that land 2 damage to invaders and 2 damage to Dahan. And Fierce Mian, 1 fear per land with invaders where Dahan outnumber buildings. Don't think that's going to matter. This is interesting. I think we ended up killing everything in this land now, do we? No, we had enough to kill everything except 1 city. This is not enough damage. But let's ping these, I guess. We don't really want to kill things. We want to kill them with with incite the mob, as that's fear per invader destroyed. That's a lot of fear. Dahan reclaim fishing grounds. Each player chooses a different coastal land with Dahan, and each 1 damage per Dahan. Well, that's not really that relevant. Everything's dead there. No Dahan there. No invaders there. That slightly does something. No Dahan there. That's dead. So the only thing that like makes a difference is that Explorer dies. And you can get +1 fear, but I'll do this so that Dahan don't take damage, I guess. Kind of irrelevant, but Blight, and then Dahan dies. These builds happen. Wetlands explore. Sweden escalation. On the single board with the most coastal buildings, add a town to the 2 lands with the fewest towns. And that is board E. So we kind of want to not have coastal cities, right? That's kind of... I mean, when they explore a coastal thing, they add a town instead of an explorer, but putting towns on the coast means that there'll be 2 towns and harder to deal with anyway. Let's put it in the Badland land. That seems nice. Let's not put it in the Blight City land. Okay. So twist perceptions. Stay there. Impersonate authority. We could add strife to a neighboring land. But there's only the single explorer right now, so that's not super helpful. Okay, this city kills those things. Oh. Oh. 1 invader deals damage. Oh. I got so excited by all of the strife things. Whatever, it's fine. Read the card, logic. That's still a lot of fear. That's 2 fear for the buildings and then 3 fear for the 3 destroyed invaders, which is pretty much... I mean, that's... I mean, outside of playing against, like, Sweden and cities dealing 4 damage, right? Or do they deal 5 damage? I don't remember. They deal extra damage. I feel it's towns deal 3 damage, cities deal 5 damage. I'm not sure, actually. It could just be +1 damage. It's been a while since I played Sweden. Okay, well, this Ravage is fine. I would like for there to be Dahan, but whatever. That Ravage is fine. This Ravage is less fine. This Ravage is less fine. I would really like for F6 to kill things. I would really like for F4 to not cascade. I don't know that I can do both of those things. Also, wetlands builds are things. And we are getting a coastal city presently. And all of these builds are forced because England. My current thought is for this Incarna to go into F8 into F6. Oh, actually, no, it's not even helpful. I guess, they go F8 to push the town into F6, and then go into F4 to strife the town, and then push it somewhere else. And then I just have to figure out how to deal with F6, which could just be a defend card. 3 card plays. We are guaranteed 3 air. Let's take this. We just need anything that says defend or something fast, and that is elusive ambushes. That is visions of fiery doom. It is not blood draws predators. Also, none of these have air, which is a little concerning. Elusive ambushes gives me sun and fire, which is, well, actually not even that helpful. We want sun for mind-shattering song. Moon for mind-shattering song. Currently we have a lot of sun and a lot of moon, but we're gonna have a lot of moons and suns. 1 more sun lets me deal 3 damage to a strife city. I'm not sure if that's going to be relevant. I don't think it will be. Unless I kill... Well, this strife will be gone by then. I think it's just going to be elusive ambushes. I mean, Gritting Trickster does add strife. I think putting a Sacred Site in E5 so that I can use Mind Shattering Song in this board more easily is a reasonable decision. So currently Turmoil's Touch, pay 1 energy or discard a power card from hand, but there's no power cards in hand or energy, so it's a little sad, but the only other 0 energy option that we had was Gould's Allure, which is the fast power that works in any land, right? But in fact, it's slow. It doesn't work to solve F6. So this solves F6. And moving my Incarna solves F4. So there's no Blight this turn. None of these really help with... Ooh, I guess we can preserve the Strife in E2, in fact. So we can't actually kill the city. Okay, so we use Exile, Confusion, and Delirium in E2. That's totally fine. That preserves the Strife. We could target the city. Kill the city. I mean, it'd be more relevant to target a wetland with this. Kind of depends on what we get here. We do have 3 card plays. I chose not to gain the power card that I played the previous turn, so it's a little sad. but I do think it's okay. I could choose to just reclaim cards, but that might be a thought because I don't have enough air for this. I definitely want to see what happens. So I guess I am reclaiming all. Move a presence. Importance of disaster. I can't make a sacred site close to E2, which is really the only relevant. I guess I could hit E5 with that, actually. Or the unknown stops the city, I guess. Although it doesn't stop F3. Is there... There's only an explorer in there. So I can't actually... I guess no, I could gather this town into E3, but I already have range there. All of these range considerations, the only relevant would be why don't you and them fight? But am I triggering that this turn? Unless I play Unexpected Tigers, I always have 3 air. I definitely want to preserve an energy, though, so I can use Turmoil's Touch. So I guess it's going to be... Lure to stop the city build in E4. Portents for fear. Impersonate authority so that I get 3 air and I can add a strife in the fast phase. But I don't want to spend energy adding strife to multiple lands. There's also a moon here. This gives me... Okay, it only gives me 2 moon. No, it doesn't. It gives me 3 moon. This power may be slow. I'm also adding a presence, so I don't know. Yeah, maybe having 3 moon will be fine for strifing a city slow. So let's strife E8 slow. I don't need to be in E2 then. Although this is visibility to E1. Ugh, man. Let's just not move the presence then. Presence in F8 for visibility here. I also push a Dahan. Is that relevant? Invaders are not participating, so the Dahan aren't counterattacking, right? They don't deal damage or take counterattack damage. Yeah, so pushing Dahan into E2 is not helpful. I mean, I suppose there's a world where I could put the Dahan in F1, F6, but this is range 2 presence. I didn't have the range for that. Could push Dahan into F4 to kill the town. I think we're just gonna push the town out and it's okay. Yeah, okay. So this. Okay. We do also potentially gain 1 energy off of. Let's see what happens. Okay. So where are we seeing what happens? Maybe E4? We don't need it for ravages. The problem is if it adds blight, it's a cascade. But if it removes blight, then it's awesome. So, what's the likelihood that we remove blight? Absorb corruption is one. What's the probability that we add blight? Land of Haunts and Embers. Poison, no. But there are blight things. Should we just do it and see what happens? I think this is not even an issue though, right? Maybe F3 and maybe it stops the city build. At the risk of destroying a wandering voice presence. Add a disease and a badlands. Okay. This is moon water plant. Moon is okay, but meh. Meh. Alright, use that slow. That will be fear. This stops the city. Defend. Moving this town doesn't actually do much, though. I was thinking of moving that town into F6 so it could die in the Ravage, but the 3 Dahan are already kind of... Like, I can add a town, but then they don't kill everything in that land. Maybe I just move into F3... so that we don't get that. Well, I guess it's disease, so it's not a city build now, but... I guess we could... I mean, I would say we could preserve the disease if we push the town out, but we can't because of England and Sweden, actually, because F2 exists. There's not enough neighboring Dahan to F3, but I could push this into E3. I think that's fine. At the risk of them deciding to build there. And then save that for the slow phase. And then search for new lands. In each land with at least 2 explorers, push 1 explorer to an adjacent land without invaders. Distant hunt. On each board, push 1 beast to an adjacent land with no blight. It deals 1 damage there. Canny defense during Ravage. In every land, defend 1 per Dahan in the land. So we had a defend for F6, in fact. No lands with at least two explorers adjacent to lands without invaders. Pretty much everywhere has invaders, sort of. Alright. E6 is pushing out. Deals 1 damage. Be nice if it dealt damage in the Badland land. I guess it could kill the town in F3, but that's a meh. The beasts in F7 also isn't doing much. Has to go into F3. So currently board half has no beasts, which is nice because the event could add beasts. I suppose this beast could actually move back into F6 and bounce back, in which case it kills the Explorer, but doesn't stop the build. There could be some merit to that. Beasts in E8 doesn't really do much. If we had 3 animals, maybe this would do something, but we don't have 3 animals. I feel like it's more relevant to kill the Explorer in E8, honestly. Okay. 2 fair cards. First one, Scapegoats. In each land with towns, destroy 1 Explorer per town. Well, that Explorer was dead anyway. And then tread carefully. Each player may choose a land with Dahan or adjacent to at least 5 Dahan. Invaders do not ravage there this turn. Well, I want these ravages to happen. There's no blight and we're killing things, so skip. Mountains Ravage. Wetlands build. Mountains. Board E has the most coastal buildings, so we're adding 2 towns. I mean, I don't want to click E5 right now. Let's click E7, and then I kind of would rather do E5 over E1 because we can strife things, so it should be okay. It's weird because this is a game with England, but because England is the supporting adversary, we're not getting the London builds yet. Next card is stage 1, which is nice. Also, let's not forget that we know where coastal is. Coastal is here. This is the coastal card. Alright, Impersonating Authority adds a strife, but Turmoil's Touch takes a minor power and for a discard. Is it more important for us to add strife to an adjacent land? Possibly. We can add strife to a city very easily. We can add strife to 2 cities very easily. Strifing everything in E8 seems reasonable. This is 3 damage, we said. Is there any world where we want to kill or want E2 to continue to have many things in it? If we can get 5 Dahan in there, it kills everything. But there's only 4 neighboring Dahan, and we don't seem to have many Dahan gathering means. I'm assuming this Incarna is going to not be adjacent to F3, so this town dies. I guess that's a question. Where am I putting my Incarna next turn? Most of my cards have air except for Elusive Ambushes and Gift of Nature's Connection, except that can pretty much give me an air. I can move my Incarna to a land with my presence, which adds a strife still, which is neat. E6 is or F6 is actually not building if I move that Explorer, which is very interesting. Is that worth consideration? There's a lot of Dahan in there, so it's not that necessary. I guess I could put it in F7 and strife that town so that that ravage is fine. Again, it'd be kind of nice if there were Dahan in that land. I could then move my Incarna into E3 and then E2 and Strafe everything along the way. I feel like we need to start digging for major powers to find the one where invaders with Strife deal damage to other invaders, because that is going to be super broken. Anyway, actually, I guess we want the Incarnate in E4? Do I? I guess we might be able to just add a Strife myself. Maybe. Depends on the power I get. I guess over-enthusiastic arson exists. Okay. So let's Strife this city. I'm not going to spend energy. I think I am going to just use Tormo's Touch. Let's go ahead and just use this. Pay 1 energy. We get Sky's Herald, the Season of Return. That does gather Dahan. I guess I could just Strife this town myself. But again, where am I going to... move this Incarna when I reclaim? I can move it to any land with my presence. Stopping the F6 build seems nice. Is it worth doing that? We're definitely inciting the mob next turn in E2, right? I'm just gonna Strife this guy and then see what happens with E4. No pun intended. I don't think I'm necessarily going to do that. Yeah, presumably if we combo Incite the Mob with Mind-Shattering Song again, we can potentially generate Oodles of Fear again in E2. Man, this is 3 damage. I don't really have any other Strife cities nearby. I mean, this is the only sacred site. This is the Incarna, but yeah, it has to be here. Okay. So this is Reclaim All, but it doesn't really give me anything. This is Power Card for sure. Getting the 2 energy. If I do want to dig for major powers, I could start just gaining energy equal to card plays, but I think I'm just going to go up the energy track anyway, because this gives me elements. It doesn't give me much energy, but it does give me elements, which is nice. So... no moon. Air fire. We're going to be at 2 energy. Dry wood explodes in smoldering splinters. Range 0, 2 fear, 1 damage. I can pay energy to make it fast. That's like a terrible power. We're definitely inciting the mob, right? All of these cost 1 energy, by the way. Ugh. Any argument for nature's resilience here for a defense 6? And screw the elements? Targoland is exactly 1 blight, remove it, but bear in mind that when I remove a blight, destroy 1 of my presents. So I don't really like blight removal, because cleaning up messes is a drag. Alright, well, it's gonna be Unexpected Tigers. And then 2 other cards. I think we were originally thinking of Over-Enthusiastic Arson for E8, but now that I strife that town, I don't need to, and I don't really want to accidentally blight E4. But I could do it in E2. Destroy the town. If it does go off, then I'd kill the other town with the 2 damage, add a blight, whatever. And then if I do get a card with Let's See What Happens, then I could forget Over-Enthusiastic Arson, and that's fine. So I'm playing these 3 cards, I think, is what I'm doing. I could maybe just forget whatever this card is with Unbinder that I find, but... in any case, I'm not really using the card this turn, but I will take this because it's closer to good elements for Let's See What Happens next turn. Take energy. You don't need Sacred Site, but this is range 0 in a not wetland. So let's see, we have visibility here right now, visibility here. Let's go in F2. So this gives us full, let's see what happens, power. This gives us 1 Invader and 1 Dahan deal damage to each other. Which is interesting. Maybe that's an argument for me growing into E3 instead. I could use it in E8 to get the city killed in a Ravage, which isn't terrible. Currently not adding a Strife, which is interesting. We can also push a Dahan. I gotta not forget that's a thing. Wetlands Ravage. Okay, move my Karna. Do we have a plan for E4? My plan is I don't have a plan. Maybe I do Over-Enthusiastic Arson in E4 and just be like, whatever. Okay. Okay. Get rid of you. I have only 1 energy. Strife City, push Invader. Well, very importantly, I want to play 3 Sun cards. So I can try to maximize the potential of Mind-Shattering Song plus Incite the Mob. It could potentially be Gift of Nature's Connection to get that Sun. Is there a reason to do that? We could add a Strife, or if Targoland has Beasts 2 damage, the Beasts could go in E3. Again, I have to put my presence in there. It would actually let 1 Invader die to the Dahan, 1 Invader die to the Beasts, which is interesting. Okay, so just to recap, These are fine. This is up to, let's see what happens. Or no, it's over enthusiastic arson. It's fine. That's fine. Mountains build. This will be fine. Don't worry about it. This is not building. So these are the only other builds. Whoops. These are the only builds. Presumably, though, I'm not going to care too much about E5. If I were to twist perceptions, I could strafe the city and push it, but I don't have the sun for that. I need sun for damage, so... Pushing Karna. That would solve F4, I suppose. Turmoil's Touch. Guess we could use that and discard the power in my hand right now on the other guy. That's okay. I don't know. Did we decide we're gonna do Strife or not? That was the question that I never actually fully answered. I think I decided I did want to put my presence in E3. In which case I want that for the beasts. Okay, so we play that one. I don't think I'm getting 3 air this turn. That's fine. Because I'm getting sun off of this. I do need another air, whatever. Invaders with Strife don't participate in Ravage. Hey, this is a Dawn Gathering card. Gather a Dawn at E2, and then the city that's added there gets pinged. It does make my mind-shattering song a little sad. Because the idea was that I'm doing 3 damage here to maximize things, but there's only 2 Strife buildings. I'm not really able to add more. The idea was that this Strifed city deals 3 damage to try to kill as many other things as possible, but I could do 1 damage to the town, and then the pinged city takes 2, this town takes 1, we destroy 2 buildings, but then like the rest of this damage just utterly fizzles. So maybe that's okay. Maybe I just need to deal 1 damage in E2, in which case I take an air off of this and I do move my Incarna 2 spots. I think this is fine. So we're gonna forget. I mean, the idea was that I would forget over-enthusiastic arson, but we could forget really anything. I guess the question is, where am I seeing what happens? Maybe we see what happens in E4 first, in case it destroys the town or defends. And then I over-enthusiastic arson in E5 if that happens. If I'm not going to forget over-enthusiastic arson, then I do this first. Call to tend, remove a blight, and push 3 to hunt. Okay. That does not have good elements. Still not getting good elements with this, so I'm just gonna skip. The argument to take it would be that I don't reclaim as often, but considering that I can still add presence on my reclaim turns, I'm not really valuing that too highly. So if this Ravage does go, it's not a Cascade anymore, but at the same time, if this does add a Blight, then I don't care. So let's do that. It is a fire, so it adds Blight. That's fine. Gain 2 animals. I gain an air. Town deals damage. The Strife Town deals damage. The Beast deals damage. Everything in that land is dead. And then we can gather a Dahan. Let's take this one. Damage invaders entering land. Push my Incarna. Strife this town. I don't really want it to go anywhere. I don't want it in F6 that will make a build happen. I don't want it in F4 that will make a city happen. I don't want it in F7 that will just use up the Strife. The only other option would be F5, but it's not really that helpful for it to be in F5. Other than for it to be closer to the coast, but even then I don't really care. So, I mean, I guess it gets rid of it in the Blighted Land, but let's just leave you there. With this Incarna, Strife that town, and then it can't go into F8, it'll make F6 build. I don't want it F4. It could go into E3. I think that's better, because that will preserve the Strife. Pull together in adversity. For the rest of this turn, ignore 1 Strife on each invader. Oh. Huh. Okay. Well, that sucks. That is exactly the thing to worry about, but we can't really do anything. Explorer's Blunder. On each board, destroy 2 explorers among lands with beasts. Careful defense when invaders ravage if the land has Dahan defend 2. Okay. Leave from dangerous lands. On each board, push 1 explorer or town from a land with Badlands, Wilds, or Dahan. Okay, so bear in mind that we're actually getting Blight. Ignore 1 Strife on each invader. It's only saying 1 Blight. Why is it only saying 1 Blight? Oh, because this is defend 2. Okay, right. Okay, because this is defend 2. This is defend 2. So I can save this Blight by pushing this town. And I can stop this city build by pushing that town. But it's only on each board, so I can only do 1. On this board... This build's happening. When it says ignore 1 Strife on each invader, does that then mean that my powers are worse? Oh my god. Oh my god. This is tragedy. Is this forced? It is forced. Has to be that one. No other land with Dahana's invaders in it. Okay. So, yeah, there are no valid lands. No. No. Okay, whatever. Discard. You get Poison Dew, whatever. I will pay 1 energy. I get Fire in the Sky. Okay. Well, Incite the Mob is sad. I mean, if there was an invader with 2 Strife, which I did not do because I've only put Strife on invaders without Strife so far. Okay, whatever. Nice event, nice event. 10 out of 10. What about again? Unexpected tigers. 1 fear if invaders are present. If you can gather beasts, do so. Then push and explore. Otherwise, add a beasts. There's no beasts on that board, so I can't really do anything. There's also that build's always happening, whatever. But this does add a beasts. But I mean, I could just add a beasts to this land, but that's no fear. The thing is, there's not really a place where pushing an explorer will do anything, TBH. Maybe slightly here in the event that maybe this does something, but we were kind of dependent on that slow power phase being better than it was. I mean, the island's healthy, so we're not doing terribly, but bad, bad, bad. Build, 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 build. All right. You do get to reclaim 1. And Fire in the Sky exists. Is Fire in the Sky enough? Also, I just noticed I don't have energy. I can't reclaim cards and place a presence this turn, despite how I said in the previous turn that I can just do that. I can't just do that. I can gain 3 energy and then reclaim cards. But that's kind of also sad. This is why I shouldn't have spent 1 energy to take a power card, I guess. I didn't spend 1 energy to take a power card. I just didn't have energy left over by the end of the turn. That's on me. Okay, we are going to want to, I guess, use Why Don't You and Them Fight to add a Strife and pay an energy to add a Strife to a neighboring land. I think that is super important. Obviously, there's like... we need to Strife at least one of these things. I guess we still have Elusive Ambushes, so that's to defend 4. That's enough for E5, so this doesn't really need Strife. And I guess... I mean... but we also can't really put... yeah, if we're putting Strife in one land, I'd have to do it in the neighboring land. We can't do it in the same land. I mean, my theory is that I move my Incarna over to E2 and thereby move the, like, strafe the town, whatever. Strafe this town, cool. That's fine for that Ravage next turn anyway. Yeah, maybe it's not as dire as it seems. Elusive Ambushes isn't energy. I'm still at 0 energy. I can click this for the energy, but then my Reclaim 1 has to gain a 0 energy card and also play Exile Confusion, which is fine. We could make this Strife Invaders an E2, not Ravage. Unless we ignore this Strife again. We won't have the energy to do Fire in the Sky. So it'd have to be Gift Nature's Connection or Call to Guard, and it might have to be Nature's Connection to ensure that we have the 3 air for adding a Strife. We're doing this and we're doing this. We have to be an E2. I might need a Sacred Site if I want to use Portents. I'm not sure if I want to. Let's move this one. This is gonna be fine. We'll move it there. Oh, what do I want to do here? Is there any reason to do middle growth option here? It's basically the same, except I don't get the air, I don't get the power card, but I get the +1 energy still, and I get to reclaim 1. Main benefit would be to get more presence down. My Incarna being at E2 does mean that neither of these Dahan are actually going to counterattack, by the way. That's the only real downside, I feel. But they're only singletons, and they're not killing cities as the result. Can I trigger my empowering? If I take Turmoil's Touch? And I want to see if I can do that without taking the power card, but I guess I have to do the math. If I take Turmoil's Touch and I play that and Exile Confusion and whatever else, 2 Moon is there already. 1 Fire, I'd have to play a Fire card. We'd have 3 air off this, I need an air, and then I get the plant. So I play a Fire air card. So it'd have to be Frightful Keening. But I would be able to do it. I'd have the energy to do it. We can empower the Incarna. The reason to do that is that when my Incarna is empowered, it isolates the land. Which isn't super relevant. This is coastal, right? Yeah, it's coastal. It's not super relevant. I guess it would stop them from exploring A2 if I finished my Incarna there. But it does mean that when they do explore maximum 2 lands per ward, it'll be a town in E3 and E1. And also F2 is looking scary, and I'm kind of neglecting that. I've been neglecting board F a lot. But the thing to be wary of is, I mean, the city in E3, but presumably we can defend that or something. I need my Incarna to be far away by that point. But also England. So F2 builds, if I do nothing about that Ravage or anything, then they build again, and there's 6 buildings in there. And while we don't have London happening yet, it's coming up. Also, E7 is a thing. Kind of feel like I would like to have 5 air coming forward. But it's kind of tricky to do that with what I have right now. I need to get the 4 card plays and play all the cards. If I reclaim 1, I guess I could gain a power card and reclaim 1. That puts me at 6 cards. I play 3 of them. Next turn, even without gaining a power card, I have 4 cards. So maybe there's a world where that happens, but Elusive Ambushes is not an air card. Also, Elusive Ambushes, I think I was intending on playing, by the way. I guess we could use these 2, lure a town into E1, kill a town E2, or vice versa. And that way I don't need to move this Incarna over, as me being able to add a strife into a neighboring land would allow me to finish off the strifing that I need to do. The benefit to that is that I can leave my Incarna away from board E and leave it in board F. In which case, my path for this Incarna would be F4 into F2. I do have to be careful about the coastal build, though. Because if there are more than 4 coastal lands with cities, we lose. But if we let E3 ravage and somehow it doesn't, like, if we get enough things killed in there, it might be okay. Do I need to use Incite the Mob? I'm not sure. So we will get a Strife and Invader Dahan deal damage to each other, whatever. So like Strife, push towns out, Dahan deal damage to something in one of those lands. I think I would like to preserve the Strife in E2 so that I can incite the mob, but even then it's not that great. Unless I still try to get all the damage off of this, but I'm not sure how many suns I will have with what I was thinking of. I guess it's time to look at this. pretty much has to be swarming wasps, because I don't have energy, and that is an error. And it's the only error. If my plan is to get to 5 air on the next turn, I need the air. So it's swarming wasps, kind of like, because it's forced. Let's put a sacred site here just so that I have more sacred sites on the board. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that insight. So it had to be Turmoil's Touch was the play for the plant. Ugh. And then we're playing that one. And then this needed to be a fire arrow card, so it's that one. So this gives me the Empowered Incarna, which isolates the land it's in. So if I finish this Incarna off in F2, then they can't explore F2. Which makes it easier to deal with F2. I mean, obviously we still have issues there. I feel like E2 is easier to deal with than F2 at the moment, so that's a little better for F2 to be the one that's isolated. And we have 3 suns, so we do have... Oh, we also have 3 sun, 2 moon, so we do destroy 2 invaders with Strife. Okay, so these are solved. We've solved them. It's fine. And then this is solved. We'll preserve the Strife at E2. It's going to be finished with 2 cities and a town with Strife. So we don't actually need to incite the mob because... Well, they are going to explore. It's a coastal, and we might want to put the town in there. Inciting the mob would mean that we can kill the town, because Mind-Shattering Song can only deal things to strifed things. And presently, that is enough for it to just kill everything, because we will do 3 damage to kill a city, and then we can destroy 2 invaders of Strife, which will destroy the remaining town and city. But when they explore, if we choose to add the town there, which would be reasonable, we would like to kill that town. So inciting the mob would make that easier to happen. And then we have to deal with F2 next turn. But by that point, we will have my Incarna in there. Something will be strifed in there. The land is isolated, so they're not exploring it. It's diseased, so they're not building it either. So it might be possible to deal with. We also have a Reclaim 1. So it seems like that works. We could, I mean, incite the mob. We don't have to incite the mob, though. Is there something else that would work? I guess we want an air card that would... I guess we do have Why Don't You and Them Fight, though. Oh, but that we were doing that to kill one of the town that's in there right now. It's probably fine. Push to Han. Pushing from E2 and E5 seems fine. That would kill the city. Yeah, okay. Okay. So, we also have Let's See What Happens. I think I want that to go off after Overenthusiastic Arson. So that I could forget it. I keep saying I want to forget it, and then I never do. In case I lose elements, because I do need them, I want to do this here. Strife the city, pay energy, strife that city. Oh, but I do... Oh, actually, Invader and Dahan dealing damage to each other doesn't actually work, does it? Crap. Oh, that's fine. That wasn't even the thing. I don't need Invader and Dahan to deal damage to each other. I could. Might actually be better to do it here, honestly. But I need to be able to strife all these things, so I actually have to do it like this. It's fine. That. Overenthusiastic Arson, I think we'd rather just do it in E5. Oh, but I guess that runs the risk of destroying that presence. I do have range here, even with this presence gone, so Overenthusiastic Arson at E2 is fine. Card does not have fire, so we don't do the other things. And now we see what happens. Because Lure of the Unknown, we've done this already, and Lure of the Unknown is not relevant on anything that happens. So, best place for seeing what happens is at F2, because that's the biggest risk. I mean, the minor powers aren't really that strong. Let's just do it in F2. Confounding Mists. Defend 4, and each invader added to target land this turn may be immediately pushed to any adjacent land. Well, this is an air card, which probably makes it better than... I thought I had a not air card, but all my cards are air. I guess Skies Herald the Season of Return. Yeah, that was it. It does move invaders, too. Oh, but like the plan was to forget Overenthusiastic Arson. Yeah, no, we just forget Overenthusiastic Arson. Gain the energy. It's a unique power card, so it might come back to me. Alright, and then lure this town. Invaders with Strife do not participate in Ravage. Tear level 2. Inscrutable Journeying. Strife that town. Let's just put you in F7. I don't want you in F3 or in E3 right now. Let's strife the city. And now that land is isolated as promised. I think we did everything we're supposed to. The event card says, Years of Little Rain. A terrible drought parches the land. You may let the plants die and the land wither, or act to ease the drought. If we let the plants die and the land wither, for each board, discard the top minor power. If it lacks water, add a blight to a sands. But towns, cities, and Dahan have -1 health until the end of the turn, which is really tempting. If we act to ease the drought, costs 8 energy aided by water. We currently have 0. Each spirit may add presence to one of their lands with Dahan. We do have beast attack, so each beast deals 2 damage, remove any token that destroys buildings, and canny defense during Ravage Neverland, defend 1 per Dahan. We do have cards we can forget for this, though. It would have to be Elusive Ambushes from Wandering Voices. But it could be Confounding Mists and Poison Dew. We gain these cards to forget them. I guess we could discard one and spend 2 energy, but would honestly just rather forget. Let's go ahead and ease the drought, because I mean, like, so -1 health on invaders is tempting because I could more easily dispatch with Incite the Mob and other things, but okay, so this beast deals 2 damage. Is it on each board or each beast's? Each beast's. So that this this city's not been ravaging. Okay. Irrelevant then. Okay, that damage is utterly irrelevant. And then Dahan defend, which is not relevant either. Okay. But yeah, it's definitely worth it to put presence down. Always be putting presence. Oh, but this is not what I want. This, forget. Okay. In your land with Dahan. So I think the plan was 4 card plays regardless. In a land with Dahan, so it's just gonna be a Sacred Site F6. And then you do get an any, but you already used all of your things. Thank you. Yeah, but it's not relevant. I could get a water now, but we already did the water cost. Dahan deal damage. Defend. Your card says Restlessness. Each player pushes up to 3 Explorer towns from a land not matching a build card. You could push this Town Explorer into F6. Push this town back into E5 now that it's defended. Can't push from the jungles. I think this is like the most relevant. The city's at 1 health. Let's just do this. That's the most usefulness. Coastal land. So on this board, where does it say? Maximum 2 lands per board. So we're doing a town there for sure. And it's risky, but I'm going to do it here just because that's ravaging and I feel like we can solve it more easily. And then this is the Explorer. And then the rest, I don't know why it's asking me. I mean, I know why, but I guess that's why Choose For Me exists. I thought it would be smart enough to know that it's irrelevant at this point, but you can only do so much. One invader with Strife deals damage to other things. This is necessary to kill the not Strife town. And then this 2 fear, 3 damage. Okay. Now, as long as we can make sure this Ravage kills enough things, E2 doesn't build, which is nice. Push Incarna. There's a lot that I have to watch out for next turn, but I'm more focused on F2. Is that kind of premature? It is a ravaging land, but there's nothing in there really. It's annoying. Or no Dahan in there. You discard. Sky's Herald. You get Gift of Constancy. I think it's okay for me to discard because Elusive Ambushes isn't going to do much. I guess no, we'll do something in E3. Obviously, I would like for there to be more Dahan in there. But I do have a Dahan movement card. Maybe that's enough. Let's not discard then. Shinkarna, blah, blah, blah. Okay, F5 Blight doesn't matter. I'm going to just say that one doesn't matter. The E7 Cascade does matter, but I can't really do much about it right now. This Incarna moves to F1. Strifes that town. I'm moving it to F6. And if I finish my Incarna in F2, it will be isolated, and F1 doesn't... Well, I guess it still builds because of all that crap, but it doesn't build because of City, which is nice. And F3 also builds. No, actually, no. Oh, it does. Oh, no, wait. Yes, no, yes. Yeah, no, it won't build because there's not enough buildings nearby if F2 is isolated. I will have to move that town into F2, which is a bit scary, but... Okay, I think this is another growth option 3 turn. Elemental Boon is tempting. Call to Isolation is very tempting. Push Explore Town per Dahan. That pretty much solves E3. And it's free? I mean, Elemental Boon exists, but this is free. Lots of sacred sites exist right now. Maybe I need to be more concerned about E7. Maybe not, I don't know. Let's go into E8 so I have like more visibility on that side of the board. Reclaim, Call to Guard? I think we wanted that, right? This. I mean, this is the way to get 5 air, which is what I wanted, but it also doesn't give me elusive ambushes, which is what I wanted. Maybe I just defend 3 in E3. I mean, I could push... Pushes per. It's not even push up to. It's push per. So I'd want to push 2 towns out, right? And then Call to Guard, gathers a Dahan, and defends 3, and that's enough. Okay, so that's done. Because I'm pushing things out and it's not isolated, it's still going to build. I don't know about that. We said we're letting that happen, so that's just that's my accepted icon. No, maybe I will do that. That's fine. This is definitely fine because we're pushing 3 times. We can make sure that there's everything in there is blighted or is strifed. And then F3 is not building because there's not enough buildings nearby, even though F2 exists, but it's going to be isolated. And E2's not building because everything in E3 will be dead or gone, and we're pushing those towns somewhere else, probably F7. Okay, and what else exists? So Called Isolation, Called a Guard we're using. Swarming Wasps. Uh-huh. That is definitely one of the cards. It has air. That's pretty much why it exists. Add a beasts or push to explorers. That's like not even remotely useful. I guess it's just add beasts. In a land without blight. So not E7. Maybe I could add it to E8 and maybe beasts deal damage to the city. That city's strifed though, so it's irrelevant. Maybe I do it to E6 and maybe that beast kills E6. Twist Perceptions, which pushes the invader that's strifed, which might be relevant for F2. Because we're strifing it and solving it for this turn, but that's not enough. Inscrutable Journeying, we're pushing this 3 times. 1, 2, 3. I can't move the town out from F2 in order for F1 to not build, so that's just what it is. We do have Mind Shattering Song, I guess, but we're not gonna have enough strifed things after all is said and done. Because all the strife in F2 will be gone. Other than Twist Perceptions, but we do have 2 damage, and we have 1 invader destruction. It's not even that much. I can strife the city and kill it. That's pretty much all I can do. Okay, cool. Alright, so that's all that Wandering Minds is doing. So, Mr. Grinning Trickster, you have to find a way to solve E7. Importance of Disaster is your fast power, other than let's see what happens and why don't you and them fight. You don't have a Reclaim 1. You do get a Fire, which is nice, is that you very easily get to see what happens without much concern. Any world where we try to you and them fight. It's not going to be enough. There's no Dahan in E7. It could be a major. If it's the major that we want, where invaders with strife deal damage to other invaders, then I gain energy to make it happen, I guess. I think that's fine. We're doing major. Okay. There are options. The one I can immediately use is Walls of Rock and Thorn. It targets the jungle, it's defend 8, which is enough. Isolates the land, which isn't really relevant, but it is a thing. Potentially means E1 doesn't build if we can get rid of that Explorer, which we would see what happens. I would need more energy than I have right now. I guess maybe not, because I could just play my 0 energy cards. Unearth the Beast of Wrathful Stone is too slow, as it's after the next invader phase with no Ravager build actions. I mean, we could do it in a not jungle, not coastal land. Big whoop. There's not really, like, those lands are not a threat right now. The best would be E6, I guess? Maybe E8, because that's like, it kills the city in the land it's in, and then that beast then pushes to E6 and deals damage there. But it doesn't solve E7. And I don't have the elements to get the elemental threshold. And so I don't mark the beasts. Which is sad. Flocking Red Talons. Add beasts. Move up to 2 beasts within range 3 to target land. For each beast present, choose a different invader. 1 damage to each of the invaders. Push and explore a town per beast. That's a lot of words to basically say 1 damage to different things and push things and whatever. The problem is... I can't hit the elemental threshold on it, just looking at it. The repeat on a different land within range 3 is... the problem is that it doesn't solve E7 and it doesn't do a lot. It adds a beast, cool. It moves 2 beasts over. We do have those 2 beasts. For those 3 beasts, we can ping the cities, ping the town, I guess, and then push the town into 2 towns and explore out of E7. Big whoop. Now there's 2 pinged cities in E7, and we pushed things out for some reason. I mean, they can go into E8, whatever. We could repeat the power in E8, and then the pinged invaders die. That's fine. That does kill things with the repeat. But then the cities in E7. I said we pinged them, but we've actually pinged the cities or something. I don't know. The problem is that we're not actually solving the E7 ravage with that. So we'd have to kind of spend the energy on let's see what happens. So no, I don't think it's going to be that. Let's not forget, by the way, we haven't any. Does that change my considerations on any of these? We don't have any earth in my hand, so Unearth the Beasts of Wrathful Stone is not happening. I mean, I guess there's an argument that we could do, because we will have animals probably that we can do 2 damage in E7. So if we ping one of the cities, then the 2 damage kills the other city, and then we strife it. In which case, we do have enough. So I just went completely 180 on Flocking Red Talons as the result. Balls of Rock and Thorn solves it in the least words. And we can get the threshold because we can make the NAB Earth. And then we play Drywood Explodes. I would have to not place a presence. I would have to gain energy equal to card plays. The threshold would allow me to deal 4 damage in that land, which allows me to kill a city and an explorer. Maybe I just take Flocking Red Talons. Even though I said it's kind of weird, but... I think it actually works for what I was thinking of, so sure. We already forgot a unique power card. Yes. I don't think I really want to use this one. I guess because the constancy is not even that exciting. That was what I randomly got. Okay, it's gone. And I think I have the energy, right, to do these. Yeah, 4 energy. Yeah, okay, so I don't need to... I do need to be in the land for why don't you and them fight. So let's take the fire. Play this. We need another plant. So you have the 2 air, we have the 2 plants. I need another animal. And probably an air, so it has to be that. And then for me to hit the threshold on this, I need another animal. which also lets me deal damage, which is good. Push Dahan. We're not going to get the Dahan damage here, but I think pushing is okay. Well... my plan was to deal... oh, we're not doing the 4 damage thing. We are doing 1 damage to different invaders. If I ping the city, I could deal 2 damage. I guess, it's only... wait, no, I don't know what I'm thinking. I guess it's okay, because it will kill a town. Yeah, okay, we can... we can push this guy. Okay, so that was a lot of decisions. We also have a let's see what happens. We cannot forget a power card, so we might as well use it first and see what happens. I think E1 was the best place in case it moves that Explorer out. Could maybe hit F2 in case it deals damage, but it's unlikely. So let's just do E1 to see if it prevents a build. I guess we're not isolating this land, actually, so this build's always happening, in which case that's not a good target. Let's do it in F2. One fear per type of invader present, push up to 1 explorer town per blight, which is 0. Okay. Well, it is 3 fear, I think. No, there's no explorer in there. That's fine. It was better in that land than E1 anyway. What was the other part of it that was irrelevant? 1 fear per type of invader, push per blight. Yeah, okay, so we got 2 fear. Then we do this. Move this one and this one. Ping a city. I was thinking the 2 damage from the Dahan would be relevant, but it's not going to. Yeah, it's not relevant, but maybe the event card will help. Push these guys. Do it again here. Kill those guys. We can move back, I guess. Strife this city, kill that city. Okay. So at the very least, this Dahan kills the Explorer. If we get somehow more damage in there, then it's cool, but... alright. Call to isolation. Push these 2. Then call to guard, gather this Dahan, and then defend. So all of that. We also had Soaring Wasps, actually. Oh, but land without blight. Which means I could have actually killed the Explorer in E1. Maybe I should do that first. Wait. I have to do this first. Okay. Okay. And this. All right. Now back to where we are here. Push these two. Call to guard. And then this wonderful inscruting journey. Okay. We only lose if F2 gets too many buildings, so I hope they don't add more buildings there. Wavering Resolve. Remove 1 health worth of invaders per power card in play that generates fear. In its instructions, not by destroying buildings, count thresholds even if you don't have the elements. Okay. We can do things with that. Dangerous Lands. On each board, 1 damage in a land with badlands or beasts, 1 damage to Dahan in a land with badlands, beasts, and Dahan. Waning Support. On each board with buildings and 5 or fewer Dahan, destroy a presence. On each board with buildings and 3 or fewer Dahan, also add a blight to a land with buildings. I don't think that's relevant. We haven't actually destroyed Dahan in this game, I don't think. That said, there's only 5 Dahan on this board, so we must have lost something at some point. Buildings and 5 or fewer, so we do lose a presence on this board. But only 1 card adds fear? Really? That is a tragedy. Fear. Okay, only 1 card added fear. I thought I had more cards that generated fear, but whatever. One damage in a land with badlands or beasts. I mean, I guess that we can actually kill the city here. Also, that's a check mark now. There's only 1 blight, right? Yeah. And also, this is indeed not building. Cool. The only build is here. And here. On each board, 1 damage in land with badlands or beasts. And 1 damage to Dahan in land with badlands and beasts. So this Dahan in F3 is actually dead, which then means that we are destroying our presence here. That's great. Alright, but anyway, 1 explorer. What explorer are we getting rid of? I say this guy because I don't know. No lands on board F. And then I guess we had no choice in board E. Oh no, that was destroying the Dahan in F3, right? And then that. Do not destroy that, please. You can remove that one, that's fine. We can remove that one, it's fine. Discord. Each player adds strife in a different land with at least 2 invaders, then each invader takes 1 damage per strife it has. It is actually... I mean, we could preserve the strife in there. It's tempting to want to maximize this, but again, it's only 2 damage. Destroy 1 invader. We're already adding a strife. So we can kill a town with this. So maybe it's worth doing that and then strifing that guy to stop that blight. Actually, we can kill a city with that since it's taking damage. Wait. I mean, yeah, all those guys are getting pinged, by the way, but... yeah, kill that city, I guess. And then damage. Dahan and Heartened. Each player chooses a different land and each gather up to 2 Dahan, 1 damage if Dahan are present. mean, no reason not to click this, right? So 1 damage. Actually, take both. Yes. 1 damage. We're killing both of the cities with mind-shattering song already. But actually, the Dahan are pretty much gonna wreak havoc. Holy crap. Okay. Okay. This game just suddenly got a lot better. We are a lot of fear cards away from Terror level 3 because of the double adversaries, but... yeah, I might as well gather these Dahan. Gives me another fear card. Yep, okay. Dahan threatened for each player adds strife in a land with Dahan. Ha! For the rest of this turn, invaders have -1 health per strife. Wow! We just got wombo comboed. Those towns are dead. This city's dead. This city could die if I put another... well, no, it can't have... well, no, it will die because, right, it's -2 health. Well, it's at minus... it's taken 1 damage, but it'll be at -2 health, so it will die. Okay. Pretty much everything that got pinged. I guess the city at E8's not dying, and I can't really do anything about it. Okay, can I conceivably get another fear card off of this? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right now. If I strife this city, it's not... okay, strife the city. Okay. Huh. Okay. No reason to strife this city. I mean, there's no reason to strife anything at this point. They're all just dead. Even F2 is dead after, like, all of our efforts to use mind-shattering song there. I guess I'm gonna do it in F7 instead. I don't even have range. Oh, whatever. I mean... the last turn, or like the 2 turns ago when we ignored strife, that turn was terrible. This turn is just awesome. Strife is awesome. On each board, add strife to a building in a land not matching a ravage card. Each invader takes 1 damage per strife it has, but also bear in mind that invaders have minus health per strife. Add strife to a building not matching a ravage card. I'm just gonna click this one, that one. So close to another fear card. I probably could have strifed the city to get another. Actually, is that actually relevant? Oh. On each board? Actually, wait. So if I do this... oh, but it's not... okay. But that city was dead. Yeah, so I don't really have much choice here, right? Because that city was dead anyway. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I couldn't get another fear card off of that. So there's only 1 town on the board, but we are adding 2 towns. Obviously, we can kill 1 invader with mind-shattering song and twist perceptions. Also, they're exploring sand, so they are actually adding 2 more towns from the explorer. It's probably fine. Probably just do Flocking Red Talons in E1 and E7 next turn or something to kill those towns. Yeah, so it's only on one board. I have 2 towns, so might as well just do it like that, right? I guess that does mean they explore E6. Oh, we only need 7 fear, and we have a no city victory. Okay. This is the only place I can do this in. Add a strife. I'm just gonna do it here. 1 damage. Actually, I guess I could just kill the town if I did it in the right spot. But, I mean, these towns are dying to Flocking Red Talons next turn. I have to obviously reclaim all to do that, but I can very easily accomplish that. I guess it's not... No, I will gain 3 energy. Right, yeah, okay. Now I have enough energy to just play the same cards and do the same turn again. So 1 damage, huh? Well, that game went from... I wasn't really scared. I was just annoyed with the turn where the strife was ignored, but it ended up not being as bad as I thought. There's still 3 blight on the blight card, and like there's no buildings left. But that fear card, those fear cards were just ridiculous that we got to clear out the entire island. I did spend like 30 minutes trying to figure out all the actions to make this turn not be terrible, but ended up being really nice. Turns out that when you have 2 spirits that add strife very easily, that fear cards that deal with strife turn out to be really good. All right, so this decision was easy. Move a presence doesn't really matter, right? Stay where you are. Play this one. Play a plant or animal card or something. I guess that's Lure of the Unknown is the easiest to do that. I guess actually Sky's Herald, the Season of Return is actually better for that. I need 1 more air, 1 more animal. And I get this without needing any ennies. Any ennies, yes. And then Wandering Voice doesn't matter, probably. I mean, 3 fear, we get no cities. Yeah, so this is utterly irrelevant. I will just max out my presence tracks, I guess. Not now. I say max out, but I mean just place maximum presence down. I don't know. I'm just clicking things. Your actions don't matter. The only things that would matter is things that remove Blight for points or things that add Dahan for points. We've not gotten any of those there, at least. We did have some Blight removal, but we ended up forgetting it, so. There's an any. That's not relevant. We could look at a random power card, maybe, but nah, let's just win. I like winning. I guess... Oh, but we do have this, yeah. So as long as we finish in my land. There will be a town that survives, I guess, but... We will die to... Let's see what happens. Or why don't you and them fight, rather? I have to push it? I do. Oh. That's a tragedy. In which case I do this first? Game over, victory. There are no cities on the island. Hurrah! The invaders are deeply afraid and no cities remain to turn to for refuge. The remaining populace swiftly evacuate the island. Finished at 63 points, 10 for victory, 40 for difficulty 8, 10 for the 5 remaining invader cards, 5 for the 10 surviving Dahan, -2 for the 4 blight. Honestly, when I first set this up, I hit random as I always do, and I saw Sweden and England, and I'm like, well, that's not a good combination. Like, England is going to make sure that we have coastal cities, right? But I think it ended up working fine having England as the supporting adversary, because the escalation never happened because we never got to stage 3. And we did a pretty good job of making sure they didn't really build coastal cities. Also, these two spirits have a lot of synergy with each other. That's probably well known. But, you know, you might think I should know this as an expert Spirit Island player, I guess. Am I an expert? Probably not. Maybe I'm just being high and mighty on myself. But I do think I have, I mean, I like to think I'm a good player. I don't have a lot of experience with the Jagged Earth spirits, nor the Nature Incarnate spirits that are currently released. I guess technically Wandering Voice is Nature Incarnate, isn't it? Because it's Incarna. But pretty much anything that's new, I have the least experience in. Pretty much my experience with Spirit Island has solely been digital. I have played a handful of tabletop games of Spirit Island, but not a lot. And it is exciting to see the synergies between spirits. I do like playing 2 spirit games because you do get to see synergies, even though it's more mental work, but I can handle it. And I have played a 6 spirit game before. Did I play a 6 spirit game before? I don't think I've done that one yet, have I? I guess I still need to do that. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed your stay. This was Dolphin's Dive. We're here every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to check out Handelabra Live Tuesdays at 3 p.m. for demos of content before it is publicly available, and announcements of fun and exciting things, such as the return of Greater Than Games. If you've missed that, well. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night. Bye.